What's up guys, this is Al, and do you know most nurseries out there do not grow their own plants? Yes, the reason they do not is because there are many different types of nurseries out there. So if you want to get into the business, into the nursery business, you want to grow plants, you want to sell plants, whatever the heck you want to do, in today's episode I'm going to be telling you the 4 different types of nurseries. I'm going to be giving you the pros, the cons, which one makes the most money, which one makes the least money. If you want to find out, stick to the end. All right guys, let's get started with type 1 nursery, and that is going to be a retail nursery. What is a retail nursery? Well, a retail nursery usually buys and resells plants. A retail nursery, most of them do not grow their own plants. This is why when you go to a retail nursery like Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, or any name brand nursery in your area, and you ask a question about growing a plant, they do not know the answer. And if they do give you an answer, it's usually not accurate because all they're doing is repeating misinformation they read online. This is why most people kill their plants, and this is why gardening is usually very complicated, because the right information is not usually available at retail nurseries. What are some of the benefits of a retail nursery? Well, you can make the most money per plant, per sale. Because you can buy a plant wholesale, let's say $15, $20, depending on your area, and you can resell that plant, depending on how popular the plant is, for $50, $75, $100. Most times it's going to be about twice as much as what you paid wholesale. So usually, if you paid $20, $25, you're going to sell it for about, $40 to $50 or something like that. Another benefit for a retail nursery is you can have a bigger selection. Since you're not having to grow plants, you don't have to take up space. You don't have to wait for them to get big enough for you to sell them. You can just buy, you can have a bigger selection. You can buy a bunch of plants, different kinds, and keep them in a smaller area since you're not having to grow them. So what are some of the bad things about a retail nursery? Well, one of the things about a retail nursery, you're going to have business hours. You're going to have to deal with the public. Most people are nice, some people are not nice. So if you like customer service, this is the business to get into. But if you don't, this is not it. Another bad thing about a retail nursery is, in most areas, guess what? You're a business. So you may have to get a permit. Type 2 nursery, and that's going to be a wholesaler. What is a wholesaler? Well, a wholesaler usually is going to be a nursery that grows tons of plants. Tons, hundreds, thousands of plants, millions. Some of them grow in the millions. Some of the benefits of a wholesale nursery are going to be, well, they know exactly how to grow plants. So the plants they grow, they know everything about them. Another benefit is, as a wholesale nursery, you're gonna make more money per sale than a retail nursery. Even though a retail nursery can make more money per plant, as a wholesaler, you're gonna make more money per sale. So let's say you're a wholesaler and you're selling plants for $15 each. That may not be as much money for a plant that took you a year to grow. But instead of just selling one, you're gonna be selling 100, 500, 1,000 plants. Yeah, and instead of dealing with like a million customers, you're only dealing with one customer because you're wholesaling to another nursery. What are some of the bad things about a wholesale nursery? Well, it takes up a lot of space. You need a lot of space to grow plants because plants take months to years to actually get to a decent size that you can actually sell. So in that time they're growing, you need to put them somewhere. And that's the reason why a lot of the wholesalers out there do not have a big selection, because a bigger selection means more space. Also, it requires a lot of labor because you're taking care of a lot of plants. And when you're taking care of a lot of plants, that means you're gonna have to hire people to help you. Let's talk about the type 3 nursery. And this is gonna be another wholesaler. But most of you do not know this type of nursery. This type of nursery does not grow plants to a sellable size. What they do is, they are a wholesaler's wholesaler. What does that mean? It means they propagate plants. They specialize in propagating plants from seed and cuttings mostly. Hardly ever you're gonna find grafted plants. They know when to start them, they know how to take care of them, they know how to get them to grow the fastest because they are a pro. Just like a wholesaler, they don't have to deal with that many people because they're selling mainly to wholesalers. Some nurseries do buy from them, but mainly their clientele is going to be other wholesalers. Because the plants they sell, they're tiny plants. And they usually come in flats like this. And they're just big enough to survive. They're not big enough to sell yet. They still need to root out. They still need to be out potted. They still need time to grow to a size big enough where a retail nursery can sell them. But guess what? This type of nursery, they sell thousands, if not millions of plants. One of the good things about this type of nursery is they are one of the last ones to actually go out of business. Why? Because, like I said, their clientele is all their wholesalers. And wholesalers buy plants in the thousands. And before, like let's say right now we are in a recession, right? So a retail nursery like me, you know, is getting hit because people are broke, they're not buying as many plants. But wholesalers, they are buying plants because they're not thinking about right now. They're thinking about next year and the year after, because that's how long plants actually take to grow. So these types of nurseries that are selling plugs and trays, starter plants, they're selling tons of plants even now, because plants take time to grow. And it takes time for that type of wholesaler to get hit by a recession like it's going on right now. So what's some of the bad things about this type of nursery? Well, for one, you need a lot of labor because you're dealing with little plants, and little plants take even more labor to actually maintain. You also need, unless you live in an ideal environment where these plants are native to and you don't really need much for them to grow, you're gonna need climate controlled greenhouses, because small plants, especially ones that do not have any roots, they are very easy to kill. They cannot take direct sunlight, the wind will dry them out, so you need a climate controlled greenhouse. So to get started in that type of business, it's going to take a lot of labor and a lot of money building out greenhouses. Also, you're dealing with little plants, so you're always going to have to move them out. You cannot wait for those plants to get too big, because once they get too big, guess what? You're going to need to up-pot them. But you're not in that type of business because you don't have the space to up-pot them. So you need to move them out. So you have to have a clientele that's always going to be buying plants, and that way you don't have to keep them too long, because the longer you keep them, the less money you make. Let's talk about the last type of nursery, and that's going to be a hybrid nursery. That is exactly what I am. What is a hybrid nursery? Well, a hybrid nursery is a mixture, a combination of all of them. So I am a retail nursery. So I buy and resell plants, right? Some of my plants come from Florida, especially the mango trees, because mango trees in my area, they take forever to grow. But in Florida, South Florida, they grow like weeds. You can graft a mango and have a mango about 2 to 3 feet tall within about 6 months during the growing season in South Florida. 6 months. Here in Arizona, that amount of growth will easily take 1.5 to 2 years, simply because it gets a lot cooler here. It's a lot hotter and less humidity, so mango trees grow a lot slower. So that's why I get them wholesale from South Florida. It's just a lot easier, even though I make less money per plant, because I have to pay for shipping, I have to pay for the certifications and all that stupid stuff. But also, I buy starter plants from wholesalers. So I buy a lot of little plants already propagated, and I grow them out. A lot of my plants in this area right here came from little plugs that I put in bigger containers to let them grow out so I can sell them. But also, I propagate my own plants. I grow a lot of plants from seed. I do a lot of cuttings. Like this mulberry trees in here. And I got a bunch of figs in here. I got tiger panache fig, I got cadota figs, I got Shangri-La mulberries there. I started from cuttings. I got a bunch of figs over there. I got an out pot. I got a lot of star jasmines in here, tons of them, because they're very easy to propagate from cuttings. I also have some Pakistan mulberries over here that I propagated from cuttings last year. Day one, the easiest way to get started in the nursery business is just to be a retail nursery, to actually buy plants wholesale and then resell them. Then over the years, if you actually care for plants, if that's what motivated you to actually get started, you're gonna learn to actually grow plants yourself. And then you're gonna buy starter plants, so that way you can actually grow them yourself too. And eventually my goal too is to grow plants wholesale. Get into the native plants. Plants that are grow very easily in my area, that all they need is just time and water. So that way I can cater to my local community, which my market is, I would say 95% native plants and 5% the plants that I sell currently on my nursery. So I'm missing out on 95% of the market out there because I don't really sell native plants, which are the easiest plants to grow in my area. Now, I'm gonna be making less money per plant, but I can grow, I'll be able to grow a lot more of them, less labor, easier. All I'm gonna need is just water and an area for them to let them grow out, but I'll be able to sell a lot more of them. So that's eventually the goal for this place over here. I'm still gonna be selling the tropicals and all the exotic plants, but also I'm gonna be selling native plants. The main benefit of a hybrid nursery is, well, you get to pick and choose what works best for you. If you just wanna buy and resell plants, just do that. If you like growing plants, you can get, you can buy plants, starter plants, wholesale, and then let them grow out. But you can also get into the propagation, business. You can propagate plants and learn how to grow them, and then that way you can better inform your customers how to be successful growing plants. So this is why when people come to my nursery, they see the difference immediately, because no nursery out there treats them like I do. Some of the negative of a hybrid nursery is sometimes you can get overwhelmed, guys, because not only are you growing plants, you're propagating plants, you also have to deal with the business side, which is retail side. You have to have business hours, you have to deal with the customers, so it can get overwhelming. So which type of nursery is going to be right for you? Well, that is up to you guys. Like I said, when I first started, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I had to figure everything out as I went on. And I can tell you right now, if I just wanted money, the best type of nursery for me would be a wholesale nursery. I can grow Suriname cherries in the hundreds. I can grow Pakistan mulberries, Shangri-La mulberries. I can grow green mulberries. I can grow a lot of plants wholesale that no other nursery in my area is actually growing, and I can sell to them and make tons of money. But anyways, guys, as always, if you like the video, don't forget to like it, because that helps me out tremendously. Also, if you have any questions, comment below, and I will see you next time.